Let's look at the receipt of funds. This is a Fintrac form. This is used if you're representing a buyer and they are giving a deposit. So you can see that basic transaction information, so the address here and then your name goes here. That's part A. And then information on funds. Basically what we want to do is look at B and then C and then D all through here, and then E and F. So let's look at B first and say, one of these, you're usually only going to get one check or one bank draft, but if you get two, you fill it out twice. So basically, you're going to look at the amount of the funds here. Let's say it's $50,000. And let's say it's Canadian funds. The date you got the check, so that just whenever you receive it. Then you have to say, is it a check, a certified check, cash, bank draft, e-transfer, wire transfer, or other? So more often than not, we're going to be getting a bank draft. And are you getting it in person, mail, electronically, or other? So you can say direct deposit. And then the purpose of the funds, is it going to be a deposit on a home purchase? Then you can put the address in here too, Anvil Street. And then for funds not in Canadian dollars, the exchange rate and the source of exchange rate. So we're only going to take Canadian dollars anyway, so that's irrelevant. And then the rest are for all multiple checks. So we go on to C, and C, it says C1, list any reference numbers of the brokerage that received the funds that are connected to this purchase and sale transaction that functions as an account for the funds. And if an account is affected by the transaction, complete this section for each affected account. So we put in here the trust account, and we want to put in that the account that the check came from is here. So let's say it came from a checking account. You have to put the number of the account here, and then let's put the name of the account number goes in here. If you got two checks, then you fill this in twice. So very simple. You just have to know the information in order to do that, and you get that from the check. So that's part C. And then if we go into part D, we got to verify who gave us the check. So verification of the individual, their name and their address, their date of birth, their nature of principal, business, or occupation. So this has to be specific. You can't just say mechanic. You have to say airline mechanic or car mechanic and what business they're in. You can't say engineer. You have to say what type of engineer. So you have to be specific as to what they do here. And then date, the information is verified. So when did you verify this information? Complete D1.1, D1.2, or D1.3, depending on how you ID'd the person providing the funds. So D1.1 is if you got a government-issued photo ID. So let's say you got their driver's license. Put driver's license here. Then put your driver's license number and the country that it comes from, where it was issued, probably Ontario, and when it expires. Pretty simple, straightforward, just fill in the blanks. 99% of the time, that's how you're going to do it. You can use D1.2 or D1.3, but at this point, let's just stick with D1. Complete one of D2.1 or D2.2, depending on whether the entity provides the fund is a corporation or another type of entity. So if it's a corporation, we need the names of the directors put in here, and each director goes in. And then the registration number of the corporation, attach a copy of the corporate record showing authority to bind the corporation regarding the transaction. So we're looking for the articles. You can attach those and then check this box when attached. If it's another entity, then you put it in here. It could be a not-for-profit or something like that. Part E, other persons or entities. If other persons are involved in providing the funds, for each person or entity involved in providing funds, record their name, address, date of birth, and nature of their principal business. So maybe the parents are actually going to give them the funds for this, so you would just put that in there. Notes, two agents. Where there are two agents involved in a transaction, the buyer's agent is responsible for completing the receipt of funds record. The listing agent trust account. If the funds are deposited into a listing agent's trust account, the buyer's agent is only required to record that the fact the funds were deposited into the listing agent trust account, but is not required to include the number of that trust account or the name or entity that holds the trust account. So that was back up here when we said right here that it was going into a trust account. That's where you fill that out. Reasonable measures. If the buyer's agent client provides funds directly to the listing agent, the buyer agent is only obligated to take reasonable measures. Example, asking the listing brokerage for any listing brokerage reference numbers. Where a client account is affected, example, the client's checking account, the account number, the name of the account holder, and the type of account. So basically, you want to find out what the checking account number is, and the name of the account number, and the type. Note, if multiple accounts are affected, information on all accounts affected needs to be recorded, subject to the caveats noted above with respect to the listing agent, trust accounts, and the reasonable measures. And then, are funds being provided by the client? If the funds are not provided by the client, speak to the brokerage's compliance officer and consider making a suspicious transaction in light of this transaction. So those are the key things. You just want to go through each one and fill them out accurately. Make sure that everything is in Part A, Part B, and then down to Part C, and then D. And that gets you through that nice and easy.